Alrighty, we are back with your favorite podcast show of the week. This is Location Weekly, and it is episode number 474. How are you, everybody? Brianna, what's going on? How's Atlanta?
Atlanta's good. It's been super hot this week. We are in what I like to call a 2 to 3 panty day because you just are sweating that much. You got to change all your clothes multiple times. But it's good. I mean, we are just figuring things out or not. But I'm still here to report on the news. That's
There
the
you
important
go.
thing. How are you?
We're okay. It actually cooled down finally here. We were like going crazy with the heat. We got a little bit of a pretty big thunderstorm that came through. It was like one of these like just in and out in an hour, but like torrential rain cleared out the humidity, and now we're just back to the sort of regular 85, and humidity's out. But apparently it's going to be back on the weekend again, so we'll be in the hot heat again. But the good news is baseball's starting, right? So we get to watch some baseball this weekend, so that's good. So I'm
Yeah,
excited.
we just got to wait to hear where your Blue Jays end up, right?
Who knows? I have no idea where they're going to play at this point. Rumors are Pittsburgh, so we'll see.
All right.
See.
Keep it
Hopefully, there's an
focused.
announcement soon since they start Friday.
Yeah. I bet their families are pretty anxious to hear that too.
Yeah. Anyhow, we've got a good show for you this week. No guest this week. We'll be back with that next week, but we do have four really interesting stories. A lot of brands doing interesting things, and we'll start right in the heart of Atlanta with Aubriana and her people to kick it off.
My people. Yeah, so Coca-Cola is they're adjusting to things from a consumer behavior perspective. People don't want to touch things. People want, uh, you know, something that's a little bit more seamless to bypass any germ sharing right now. And Coca-Cola is kind of on top of that with their freestyle machines and the app. So, I mean, many of you have seen these machines. They're in a lot of restaurants like Five Guys and Firehouse Subs. And you can just go in and customize your drinks. And they actually have an app as well. I'm sure it doesn't have like mass adoption, but you can save your preferences on there. But now what they've done is they've allowed you to just scan a QR code from your phone without downloading an app. You can just easily go ahead and use your phone to, order exactly what it is that you want without touching the screen or anything. And so you can kind of bypass touching something that has like lots of, maybe germs on it. And it's pretty interesting. So if you do have the Freestyle app, you can still use that and, upload like your favorite mixes or whatever. I don't know what you used to call them, but growing up, like when you mixed all the flavors together, we called that suicide. But anyways, it's probably, maybe they've come up with a better name for it that would be more appropriate now. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, this is pretty interesting. They've been testing it out, and I mentioned Five Guys and Firehouse, and then some Wendy's locations here in Atlanta, and they want to roll it out. They have about 10,000, I think, freestyle machines across the U.S. And so, as the summer continues, rolling it out to all those locations and probably just updating the software so that people can engage with those machines and those other locations. But yeah, I think this is just another example of, trying to take advantage of how consumer behavior is shifting and how can you provide more value to the end consumer and probably maybe get more data in return. I don't know. But yeah, I think this is a good move from Coca-Cola. And I mean, it's interesting because obviously you have to be inside the restaurant in order to do this, right? So you have to have some level of comfort in actually going into a dine-in facility, or even if you're just taking out. Um, but yeah, I think like I always think about minimizing touch points. So again, if you can use Apple Pay or, something that is touchless versus having to input your credit card information and sign a screen and all of that, I think that's a better option. So this again is just another one of those ways that you can avoid sharing germs and touching a screen.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm with you. I think this is a good move for Coke and the freestyle team in particular. We've talked a lot about sort of exactly what you just said on the payment side. sort of everybody, trying to implement, tap or touch-free, sort of payments in some form or fashion. And I think this is, very much in the same line of, what COVID is driving is technology adoption. I think the one thing that is really interesting to me, if you remember, a couple of years ago, we covered, a few stories about how much QR codes were being used in China and in some of those markets, and how it kind of disappeared, from kind of the North American scene. And here we are now, 2020, brought on by COVID, the resurgence, the massive resurgence, in fact, of the QR code. It's everywhere now. Whether it's to drive payment transactions, or it's to facilitate mixing your beverage drink, or it's to collect information for contact tracing purposes, or whatever the case might be. The QR is everywhere again, and so I think if you're in that business, you're doing well right now, because there's just such a demand for scanning things, tapping things, sort of just going completely touch free. And we're seeing this even in the in the digital signage side of things as well. A lot of movement there. I've been talking to some of our colleagues in that part of the world, and just everybody's kind of moving towards either a QR or some sort of tap type of NFC transaction or something like that. So good for Coke, to kind of take a page out of that book and kind of go with it, because I think it's a good move. All right. Shifting gears now, we'll go over to our friends in Seattle, Amazon, and we've talked a lot about the Amazon Go stores over the last number of years, and this sort of idea of their cashierless checkout type of store environment, no people there, and so they've put the Go technology into a shopping cart now. Interestingly enough, it's called the Amazon Dash Cart, and I thought it was interesting because, for a long time we talked about Amazon Dash, which were these buttons that you could put into your house, by your washing machine if you needed to order more Tide, or you need more razor blades, you tap the Gillette button or whatever the case might be, and that stuff gets put into your basket and you order. And they kind of disbanded the Dash program, and now here Dash, the name anyways, appears again as part of their shopping cart technology. So it's the same idea as the store. It's that idea of just walk out type of technology. So you fill up your shopping cart with stuff, and the cart basically measures, weighs, counts, does all the things that you would expect it to do. When you're ready to check out, you just go through the exit mash that's sort of labeled the Dash Cart lane, and so you go through that. There's sensors there that identify the cart, and the payment is processed to your card that you have on file with Amazon. So I think kind of interesting. And so here's where I think this could go, though. I think it's more, to me, it's more than just, hey, we've got this technology in the shopping cart now, and there's a lane here. What I think would be really interesting is not just to have this like in a Amazon store environment or what have you, a Whole Foods, let's say, but like think about Walmart's, think about any other kind of store like that, about some sort of dedicated checkout lane, express checkout like that, where this type of technology was available. And what would be even better, I think, would be really interesting, is if that was available for your premium loyalty members, express checkout. Like, to me, that's really interesting, because it's like all of a sudden, like, I shop a lot here at Walmart, or I shop a lot at Target, or I shop a lot at whatever. I'm here all the time. I'm spending a lot of money with you. Why do I have to line up the same as everybody else who's here, once a month? Let's just say. So, how can you put a premium on that? How can you give me additional value, treat me differently? One way to do that would be this kind of technology implemented in that environment.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this type of technology has a lot of opportunity. So not only from a convenience standpoint, right, saving consumers time when they check out, but back to our previous story where now you are, there's less interaction, right? I mean, whenever I go now to the grocery store, we all wear a mask. We have to, we push our cart up, and then you wait till the cashier is ready and everything's bagged and put in your cart before you even approach and pay, so that there's minimal time where you're close together. So, something like this just minimizes all of that interaction altogether. And the fact that you could just, walk out in essence with everything already bagged and ready to go, it saves you time. So if you can start to do those things like within your cart and you do it yourself, you get things done the way you want. You don't have to necessarily wait in line. I think there's a lot of perks, and I like the idea of there being a loyalty play involved, or something that's, it's like your Sky Miles medallion, and like, do you get to get on board first, and do you get to get through quicker? So I think that makes a lot of sense. And I am excited to see if other, big shopping stores, or mega stores will start to follow suit with this. I mean, we've seen most of the stores put in self-checkout now, and how that's helped people move through a little quicker, especially when you have less items or you just want to bag it and do it yourself. And I don't think this is any different. So,
Yeah. So there you go.
yeah.
Okay. What do we got now? Oh yeah, you've got another good story.
Yeah, this is interesting. I have like mixed feelings on something like this, and you will understand why, being a Canadian who has different type of healthcare than we do here in the States. But Walgreens has decided to now get into primary care facilities. They will be opening hundreds of primary care clinics in the coming years. They have reached a deal with a company called Village MD, which is a primary care provider. It employs over 2,000 physicians, and serves patients. It has a bunch of freestanding clinics, and now they're going to recruit an additional 3,600 primary care physicians through this partnership with Walgreens. So they're going to staff and operate 500 to 700 different clinics in 30 U.S. markets. They haven't specified which locations or which cities they'll be rolling out first, but the clinics are going to be, ranging in size depending on the actual location. You might have some that are around 3,000 square feet all the way up to like 9,000 square feet. And they have over 18,000 locations. So, I think the idea for them of being convenient and having the ability to just, we've seen this with some other healthcare providers here in the US. Kaiser Permanente, for example, has their own locations, and then they usually have their own pharmacy within those locations as well. And this is sort of streamlining everything, where you would have, the pharmacy and the physicians all right there together, which from a convenience factor is nice. We've seen other companies look at things like this, where we saw CVS acquired Aetna, which is a huge insurance provider. It's actually the nation's third largest health insurer here in the US, and that was a $69 billion deal in 2018. So, this isn't necessarily new, but this is more on blending that retail and healthcare as well. And, Walgreens is going to invest $1 billion in equity and debt in Village MD over the next 3 years. And then at the end of that period, they're going to claim 30% ownership of Village MD. So to me, I think from the convenience of having things in one location, it's a great idea. I think that, however, having this, to me, conflates and makes our healthcare even more problematic here, where you start to combine the data and the information you have about a retail consumer alongside of that health information that you have. And as much as they want to say maybe that, there's a paper wall up in between the two things, I'm not really sure that will stand. And I think that, like, we also have a lot of challenges here within our healthcare system as it is, but bringing in somebody that is clearly driven. I mean, we know that the insurance companies are also, for profit. So all of these things that drive profits, to me, just present potential challenges in terms of actually putting consumers first and patients first. But, I think that there's some interesting stuff that's here as well. I don't know. We'll see how things pan out, right?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting move. I think, from a profit and a business perspective, I think it's probably a good move for Walgreens to kind of get into this space. I think about it here in Canada. Obviously, as you pointed out, we have a completely different medical system. But we do have the sort of pharmacists on site, in the stores. We now have also, in some cases, most of these pharmacy stores are in building complexes as it is here in Canada, where there's already a series of different types of doctors and whatnot, medical clinics and different things that are co-located around that. They're just not physically like inside of the actual store, but they're right next door or right above or whatever. So that's quite common here. The other thing is I'm thinking about kind of the emerging medical cannabis market up here, and we're starting to see a lot of that push into the pharmacies as well, where there's consultation going on, people who are knowledgeable about certain products and CBD and those kinds of things in the actual stores, doing education and that type of stuff as well. So yeah, I think that's sort of the trend where the industry is going overall, right? Is this idea of sort of care, education, and products sort of all in the same place. I'm with you though. I think there is risk here in the U.S. market when it's all about profit. And is there an incentive to potentially, have people, write prescriptions that aren't necessary, driving more product, more sale, more profit? I don't know, right? I mean, who knows? But, you know, uh, I'll look at it on the surface and say, from a Walgreens perspective, from a business point of view, I think this is a good move. 30%, equity stake in Village MD. When this is all said and done, $1 billion investment. Yeah, I mean, it's a big deal, right? And it's interesting because, like as you pointed out, CVS with Aetna on the insurance side, like you don't see. Well, I guess they're all one company now, anyways, aren't they? Right, Walgreens and CVS, and right. So yeah. Anyways.
Right. No, well, no, there's still Walgreens bought Rite Aid, and then there's CVS. So they're two
Oh,
separate.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
There you
Mhm.
go. Anyhow, so let's see. We'll see how it plays out over the next little while in terms of when these open up and what they look like. Hopefully, you'll have one
Yep,
in Atlanta. You can go visit and give us the
I'm
whole
sure.
story. So, all right, our final story for this week, completely shifting out of that world and into food. Um, and now we're going to talk about Shake Shack. So, first of all, are you a Shake Shack fan?
You know what? What's kind of funny is that like I have never been a burger eater
Okay.
like for my entire life, but then I got pregnant and then I somehow decided I wanted to have a cheeseburger. And so I ate Shake Shack and I do like it. And I like their milkshakes too.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I obviously we don't have that here, and I think I've been twice to a Shake Shack now when I've been in New York, and yeah, I think it's a fantastic burger. And unlike a lot of the other fast food places, like you can get a beer with your burger or whatever at a Shake Shack, and so on. So like that's good. And yeah, so anyhow, so they're trying to deal with COVID like everybody else, and so they've come up with an interesting program here. 40% of their dining rooms, they say, are completely shuttered because of COVID, and so they're rolling out what they're calling a summer camp in a box program. So kids obviously, at this time of year would be going to all kinds of summer camps and day camps and whatnot. And so they decided, hey, we should do something about this because kids aren't, able to go out and do what they would normally do. So they put a 6-week program together, family-friendly activities. And it costs $79. It's a shake camp box and includes supplies for making your own lemonade stand, telling ghost stories around the campfire, making crafts, throwing a field day, building ice cream sundaes, getting involved in your local community. It also includes $75 in Shake Shack promotions, coupons, and things like that, I guess, including free burgers. and stuff you can redeem online on the brand's app or website. So I think it's pretty creative. I think, hey, they're trying to do something to give the kids things to do, and at the same time, they're driving traffic to their site, and getting people to, I guess, order, and have takeout or food delivered. So hopefully that's helping keep things moving at Shake Shack as well. Um, yeah, and then each week's suggested activity is demonstrated on their Instagram channel as well. So there's like sort of, explainer videos, I guess, and things like that on whatever the craft or the activity is over the course of the 6 weeks. So I think it's pretty fun. I don't know if I lived there, I would be like trying to sign up for this and check it out.
I'm definitely going to check this out, but I think that it's great. You know what, I do think that this time in shutdown and all of our behavior changing has forced so many companies to be more creative and connect with their consumers and provide more value beyond maybe what they have traditionally done. So going beyond just food to maybe more experiences. And I think that that's a great thing for them to be pushing. Maybe they can come up with like a homeschool box, because I'm in for that. Like science projects, anything they can give me curriculum wise and idea wise to keep things moving as, we try to navigate what's going on in this coming school year is awesome. So I think it's a great idea. And I like that they are also giving coupons, because obviously driving people back to being able to kind of like spend that money with them for their, primary offering, I think is the most important thing. So tying those values together, I think is great.
Yeah, and you guys have Shake Shack in Atlanta, right?
Hmm. We have a few, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, come bring it up here. Bring it to Toronto, man. It's a big market. We can use one. I'll be the first one in line. There you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's our show for this week. Four interesting stories. There are some interesting brands doing some cool things. And you've been listening to episode number 474 of Location Weekly. And of course, we'll be back with another show next week and a guest. But in the meantime, if you have feedback, reach out to us, story ideas, let us know, comments, stars, likes, whatever. We like all that stuff. So, find us on one of the social media channels. If you're watching the video, it's available at the end of the show. And have a great week, everybody. And, go Blue Jays, go. Happy baseball season, all that kind of stuff. So, there you go. Bye, everyone.
Bye.